there's no functional difference in between a mafia and a government. I mean, they're all the same thing. There's this sort of naive comment that you'll hear people say a lot. They're like, "Did you know that Al Qaeda like builds hospitals and gives money out to people and stuff?" And it's like, yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. All these things. They're all the same kind of thing. You're all in the same a similar business. Some of them are kind of private shadows. Some of them only operate at certain edges. You could have within the same territory, you could have multiple governments. Like you could in New York City, the government that issues passports that everyone knows about, and the criminal underworld could be covered by this mafia. Then you could have sort of immigrant groups that are essentially have their own government that is kind of secret, and they're all in the same business. They have the monopoly on violence, etc.
The difference, like it is all
and
the
taxing
same.
and taxing.
Yeah, it is all the same thing. Taxes are protection money, and I don't mean that in like I mean, I do mean it in a libertarian sense, but not like we got to abolish it because like you're one way or the other, you're gonna pay protection money to somebody. But the difference between a cartel and a local government is that the local government has, in theory, rules for how they can deal with their subjects. What there are rules for them too, that they're not allowed to treat you a certain way, they're not allowed to do certain things to you. Obviously, a cartel doesn't have this rule. That's the difference between civilization and barbarism. It's not that like there's some magic thing that happened that transformed you. It's just one has rules for how the strong can rule over their subjects, and the other might not necessarily.
Two quick examples. Number one, military generals, whenever they have conquered some territory or whatever, immediately basically become like the president of that area, and they rule it. And there's no even transition. Like everyone like literally knows how this works. Like, oh, Napoleon's general just just conquered Spain. Well, he is now basically just like someone that was elected office or whatever over there, and he knows how to do that. Everyone sort of understands that. Another example we like to use is so you learn about politics in school in America. You're going to learn about this guy who was supposed to be the worst guy in one of the worst people in the world, Boss Tweed. All right, and so Boss Tweed. So you can look at, and they'll tell you that there was a time when Boss Tweed ran New York, not the city council, not the mayor, not the United States government, and this is absolutely true. When you would pay your taxes to New York City, literally, Boss Tweed would people would pay their taxes, and they would go to the city, and the treasurer would hand like a giant bag of money to Boss Tweed, who was supposed to take it to the bank to deposit this money. And instead, he would take about half of it, and then he would deposit the rest for the city services. And you could look at that situation, people are like, wow, so that whatever's going on there, that's completely different than what's going on now. Clearly, everything was just being stolen and it's all gone, right? Well, and you could look at what you got out of the New York City government during that time. So, Boss Tweed was like every sort of big attraction that people go to see in New York City today. The Museum of Modern Art, all these big museums, the library, the Brooklyn Bridge, all these things were built during Boss Tweed's rulership. So, now you go to today when there's nothing illegal going on, basically. I mean, people could have little scams and stuff, but everything is legal. It's all legal if that matters to you, but they don't build anything anymore. There's no money left. Everything just gets distributed to this huge class of bureaucrats and people with like these weird social jobs and stuff. And you can take these two situations like, well, how can this guy is stealing. That's wrong. That's a sin. He's taking the money from the bag and giving it to his friends. Versus today, everyone's following the law. There's no bad people, whatever. But your money is still gone. And in fact, it's being stolen much more efficiently. We just call that, it's just legal. And this is a huge, huge, huge problem for Western societies. The whole rule of law meme. I mean, there was a lot to like about rule of law. You can see that when Caesar rolls into France, It's not like, oh, we're the Italians, we're here to F up you French guys. No, I mean, he's making sort of a similar offer there of like, hey, what if you had, what if you had this relationship with the state rather than this local big guy? We'll give you a toilet. You'll get somewhere to take a bath. You'll get water. You get some nice roads and stuff. You know what I'm saying?